Ohio State plays in a 1-2 Big Ten championship game tomorrow. And you thought we weren't going to do bold predictions? Who cares? It's been the busiest week of the year for Mick Walker, recruiting ace during national signing period. Who cares that it's been busy for the Lettermen Row crew? Brian Hartline off to USF, and we're covering every angle of the search for a new offensive coordinator as well as what Hartline stuff means. It doesn't matter. We're still doing bold predictions here. It's Ohio State and Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, 12-0 versus 12-0, 1-2. I don't care what game day says is the biggest game of the week. They're going to the SEC championship game because they're losers. And we're not. We're going to the Big Ten championship game. Ohio State and Indiana, bold predictions. Let's get into it. Mick, are you fired up, man? If you can't tell, I'm a little fired up.
I'm fired up.
I called Pat McAfee a loser right there. I mean, it doesn't get much more fired up than that. Mick, I'm going to let you go first. You seem so fired up. Everyone knows that you're the most energetic guy on this show. You're the energy bringer. So I'm going to let you go first. Bold prediction, numero uno for Ohio State and Indiana.
What number does Caleb Downs wear, Spencer?
2.
I'm going to say Caleb Downs picks off Fernando Mendoza twice on Saturday night. Caleb Downs coming out of the middle of the field, just wrecking havoc from Fernando Mendoza, making sure that his fellow Buckeye, Julian Sayin, clinches the Heisman on Saturday night in Indianapolis. You've said it multiple times. I wasn't there watching the game with you guys, but I know you, Austin Ward, Jeremy Birmingham, were all sitting at the Berms abode last Friday night watching the Indiana-Purdue game, and we're all agreed that Fernando Mendoza threw about 10 or 5 or 6 passes that should have been intercepted, or turnover-worthy plays if we're talking about PFF. If you do that against Caleb Downs, you're going to end up with multiple interceptions, and I think he's going to do that on Saturday night.
All right. Spicy.
Put a little spicy.
I think Jeremiah Smith is going to have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. You can't cover them both. Nobody has all year. No one will. It's really difficult to stop Jeremiah Smith already. Last year, his former high school teammate, D'Angelo Pons, did a good job on him. 3 catches, I think, for 30-some yards. A little bit of a quiet game for Jeremiah. Ohio State still won thanks to a suffocating defense, a cavalcade of errors by Indiana on special teams and on defense. A good run. The running game got going last year for Ohio State against Indiana. This year, fast track, Julian Sayin Heisman campaign, Jeremiah Smith proving he's the best player in college football. I think Jeremiah Smith is going to go off in this game and have a signature moment. It's probably going to lead to a Julian Sayin Heisman moment, but I think Jeremiah will make it clear who's the best player in the Big Ten. And I think that's him. I don't think that's very bold. But 150 yards and 2 touchdowns would be overall a career high for him. I know the receiving yards, it might not be a career high, but it might be a career moment for him, almost like the Rose Bowl was last year for him against Oregon. I think it's going to be that kind of night for him.
This is not a bold prediction for me, but we could set the scene a little bit here. I do think if one of these Jeremiah Smith touchdowns, if they're a nice out route or a nice fade ball, or it's a really beautifully placed ball, and they're 10 to 20 yards out, I think there's a chance, or at least I hope in my heart for the photographer in me that I'm down in the end zone, and that at some point we get to see Julian Sayin jog, maybe do the pinwheel arms again as he jogs to the end zone to celebrate with Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah, Brandon Ennis, Cornell Tate all kind of egg him on, and the 4 of them together as a team, because this is what Julian Sayin would want to do, hit the Heisman post in the end zone. I just would love for the visual of it. I don't know if it happens, but that's the fantasy of the heart right there. That's what I would like to see. As for my second bold prediction, this is kind of actually the antithesis of what you just predicted with Jeremiah Smith. I'll go Ohio State rushes for 4 touchdowns against the Hoosiers on Saturday night. Maybe a couple for Bo Jackson. C.J. Donaldson always seems to get a rushing touchdown every game or comes close to it. And, maybe Julian Sayin or Lincoln Keenholz, one of the quarterbacks, gets in there for one. So I'll go 4 rushing touchdowns for the Bucs on Saturday night in the Big Ten championship game.
Rushing touchdowns. Okay. So is Bo Jackson going to get over 1,000 yards then for the year?
Yeah.
If that's the case, yeah. Okay.
1K Bo.
Yeah, I'll toot my own horn here a little bit, Mick. I did predict Bo to have over 100 yards rushing last week, and he did that. I wouldn't go as far as getting him to 1,000 last week, but he was close. He got close. He had 100 was more than the entire Michigan offense, which is pretty interesting considering Bryce Underwood is his revenue is the GDP of a small island nation, and still couldn't muster anything. But yeah, I think that's a good prediction. Do you think Bo's going to have at least a couple of those?
I do. I think he'll have a couple. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the quarterbacks. I think there might be an effort to get Julian Saint in. He almost had the sneak last week, maybe just to see if he can get one. He doesn't have one on the season yet. You're gonna have a couple of weeks off here, so you can kind of test the legs a little bit, whether that's a boot or just let him drive the pile with Nate Roberts or Bennett Christian pushing him from the back end. And then Isaiah West has played well. Maybe he gets one. James Peebles has played well. C.J. Donaldson. I think any of those guys could get the fourth rushing touchdown.
Okay, all right. Julian Saint getting pushed from the back end gets a touchdown. Okay, that's a bold P there. I am going to stay on the offensive side of the ball. No, I'm going to go to the defensive side of the ball. I've got 3 bold predictions, which is part of the show. I think Kenyatta Jackson's going to have 2.5 sacks. I asked him what he thought about going up against Carter Smith, who's now the offensive lineman of the year in the Big Ten. And he said he's a really good player. He's looking forward to the matchup. He just had kind of a twinkle in his eye. I don't know if I need to say more. I think as you try to block Caden Curry and Caden McDonald, the Big Ten defensive lineman of the year, as you try to block Arvell Reese coming off the edge, try to block Sonny Styles on some of these blitzes, maybe even Caleb Downs coming in from the secondary blitzing a little bit. Sometimes I think Kenyatta just gets forgotten about. He's been playing his best football. I don't see why that would change. I think Carter Smith's a really good offensive lineman. I think Kenyatta's length and power can kind of present some challenges that not a lot of people can on him. And so I'll go ahead and predict that Kenyatta has a really, really big day in the Big Ten championship game.
Kenyatta Jackson channeled his inner Kobe Bryant out on the postgame or in the Wednesday night. He informed everybody in the room that the job was in fact not finished for the Ohio State Buckeyes this season. And neither is our bold prediction show. I got one more, and this is kind of I was trying to go special teams so I can. I don't have any super specific one. This is the loosest bold prediction I'll throw out this episode. But I think whether it's Nate Ebner or Rob Keys or Gunnar Daniels, somebody on that special team staff pulls out something from the bag of tricks on Saturday night, and Ohio State runs a fake on one of these special teams units to get a first down, or heck, maybe even put some points on the board. I think we see a special teams fake come against the Hoosiers on Saturday night.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking about Ohio State and faking punts or faking field goals, and the 2 most memorable fake punts I've had. I don't think I've ever seen Ohio State fake a field goal. I don't know if that's ever
fake a field goal.
Yeah, that was a terrible, terrible attempt. Shame on Jed Fish for that. The 2 fakes that I remembered so well are Jesse Mirko almost causing a fist fight between Ryan Day and Greg Schiano. And the other one came in the Big Ten championship game when Ohio State was losing to Wisconsin in the 2019 Big Ten championship game, and Drew Chrisman threw a pass that was almost batted away but was caught and it extended Ohio State drive. And that was Ryan Day kind of putting him on the table and just being like, hey, we're here to win this game. And so, the Buckeyes have faked punts before in that building. And so if there's a trick to be had, I think maybe this is the game for it in a 1-versus-2 matchup where you have the Big Ten trophy to lose, but at the same time, what do you truly have to lose? Because you're still getting a bye regardless into the college football playoff and those kind of things. So I think if there's going to be some trickery, there could be some trickery in this game. I was going to go with a trick play on offense, but I guess I'm going to scrap that. And I just think Julian Saint is going to wrap up the Heisman Trophy. I think he's going to have 4 total touchdowns in this game. And you said 4 rushing touchdowns. I don't buy that. The Ohio State doesn't do that. This is a fast track too, Mick. I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong, but you're wrong. I think Ohio State's going to have Julian Saint put up a little bit of a laser show here. The Indiana secondary has been really good this year. I don't know if it's this good against these receivers and this accurate of a passer. I think Indiana's going to score some points. We'll talk about that later. But I think Julian Sand's going to throw for 3 touchdowns. I think he's going to run for another one. I think the Heisman Trophy is going to be his. You can call it a weak Heisman field all you want. I don't really care. He's the most accurate passer in the history of the sport right now. So you can kind of shove it where the sun don't shine because he's kind of proving you wrong. Just placing the football exactly where it needs to be time and time again. So give me 4 total touchdowns for Julian Sand, maybe even like 300 yards, and then puts his name on the stiff arm trophy. Sends Diego Pavia home without one. Sends Fernando Mendoza, the first team All Big Ten quarterback and the Big Ten quarterback of the year. May not even win the Heisman Trophy in place of another Big Ten quarterback. How crazy would that be? That's why these Big Ten awards should come out next week and not this week. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. What also is neither here nor there is the fact that Modelo season, you guys know what I'm talking about. College football season is Modelo season. If you're listening to this right now, it means it's time for a conference championship reward. You've made it to conference championship weekend. It's time for reward. Reward your full-time fandom to the Ohio State Buckeyes with an ice-cold Modelo. Modelo is the official beer sponsor of the college football playoff. Our friends over at Modelo have been in search all season of the top recruits. If you full-time fans, if you're listening to this, you've been recruited and it's time for an ice cold reward. Of course, the official beer sponsor of the college football playoff would love to reward you with a Modelo. Ohio State fans, you deserve a Modelo. Go right now and get your Modelo. Which brings us, Mick, to the best time of the week. It's time for me to do the BetMGM reading disclaimer that you always think is so fun to hear me do, and so fun to hear me try to get through all the way without any stumbles. Let's see if I can make it happen, make a little magic happen. Because as you all know, we've teamed up with BetMGM. All season we'll be using BetMGM lines to make our picks and have special offers to listeners each week. When you join BetMGM, you get access to a variety of parlay selections like same-game parlays, live betting odds, and more. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code ON3 and you'll get $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here is how it works. Listen closely, Nicholas. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code ON3. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. If you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses, just make sure you use the bonus code ON3 when you sign up. Make this college football season one for the history books. There's still time to do that. There's still time to make it legendary. See BetMGM for terms. 21 and over. Only U.S. promotional offers. Not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code ON3 and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Mick Walker, Ohio State 4-point favorite. It's a round number. It's not 4.5. It's not 3.5. No hooks here. 4. Score prediction. Ohio State and Indiana 1-2 Big Ten championship game.
31-14.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
I'm a firm believer that cursing that he tells you how confident and how sure he is about victory whenever he does his press conferences. Same, he got the win in Oregon. Congratulations to him and Eugene. But when he comes out and he starts praising teams and says they're the greatest team, he fully anticipates and knows what's coming on Saturday. And I think he knows what's going to come on Saturday night in the Big Ten championship game. I think Ohio State rolls over the Hoosiers.
Wow. Okay, so I've been thinking about this game a lot this week. I know not a lot of people have, but I have, Mick, because I try to do as much work as I can. 3 times this year, Indiana has been held under 30 points. So the first one was against Old Dominion in the first game of the season. We throw that game out because it was week 1, and that's a transfer-heavy roster that was just kind of getting its feel for everything. I'm not really counting that. That's fine. The next time they were held under 30 points was at Iowa, a 20-15 win over Iowa. They needed a touchdown in the last minute to go up 20-13, and they take the vanity safety at the end of the game, whatever. But they only scored 20 points in that game. Then they scored 30 on the road at Oregon. But then at Penn State, they only scored 27 in a 27-24 game. They needed the fourth quarter heroics to even get to 27 in that game. Their best offensive performances are clearly, and every team, it's this way, their best offensive performances are clearly against the teams that they are so much better than. When they face a defense that can hang with their offense, it is not as easy for them to score. Duh, that makes sense. But it's worth noting They have not seen a defense even close to what Ohio State has. I think Ohio State comes out with a really good defensive plan because, remember, it's not the Ohio State defensive staff that's been distracted this week by Brian Hartline taking a different job. Matt Patricia is locked in on stopping Indiana and winning the Big Ten. So I am going to take Ohio State to win this game 34-20. I took Ohio State to beat Michigan 34-20. Had Ohio State scored a touchdown instead of a field goal, they would have been closer on 2 different occasions. So I think that was still a good play because Michigan probably could have gotten a touchdown or 2 on those first 2 possessions. So I liked the process of me getting to 34-20 in the Ohio State-Michigan game more than I liked the result. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick with my guns, stick with what I know, and I'm going to take Ohio State to win this game 34-20 on the back of 4 Julian Sayin touchdown passes and 2 Jaden Fielding field goals. That's my prediction, and I'm sticking to it. What do you think?
I like it a lot. You mentioned the Ohio State defense, and I think that's kind of why I sit at 14. I'd imagine it's not said. It's not like going to be written on their armbands or anything, but I do think the whole idea of and you would know the stat better, no team has given up 17 or less points in 13 or something games to start the season. Like, there is very much a standard and a goal in sight where if you can keep the Hoosiers under 17, that you can kind of be record setting. I think we saw Caleb Downs' reaction there at the end of the Rutgers game when they were like, he was disappointed in the second teamers letting up a touchdown for to the Scarlet Knights. So I think they're very much in tune and aware of all these things that you can kind of hit in these thresholds. I also just think that when you have guys like Caden McDonald and Arvell Reese, you can kind of win a lot of games without even getting super complicated. But again, I think Matt Patricia's got some stuff cooked up for Fernando Mendoza.
No other place from me, Mick. I know that's not what you want to hear.
Not ideal.
No, actually, I got one. Jacksonville State plus 2.5.
There you go.
They're at home against Kennesaw. Kennesaw minus is 2.5 point favorite. I'll go ahead and take the 2.5 and ride with the Gamecocks over the Kennesaw State Owls. I think Jacksonville State is the better team. I think the wrong team is favored. So I'll take Jacksonville State to win that game. That's the only other play I have. I lean Alabama over Georgia. I lean Virginia over Duke, although it would be so funny and so ACC if Duke won that game. I probably lean – I'm on the cusp of taking Texas Tech minus anything. That one might get out of hand.
Can I ask you about one?
Yeah.
We need to know the second most important conference championship game going on up in Detroit. What's going to happen there?
Don't care.
Don't care.
Stop using computer systems to determine who plays in your championship game. Miami lost to 2 teams in the league, Ohio and Toledo. There are 2 teams in the league. There are 3 teams in the league with 2 conference losses, Miami, Ohio, and Toledo. Ohio beat Miami and Toledo beat Miami. Those are Miami's 2 conference losses. So how in the hell are they the 2-loss team that gets to play in the conference championship game? It's garbage. The MAC should be ashamed of itself. And I don't think Ohio or Toledo should stand for it. And I think Ohio should be playing in the MAC championship game. But
you and I were there,
again,
Pete.
Yeah, then again, you can't lose to Ball State and Muncie. Look, there are 3 rules in life. Don't talk about politics at the dinner table. Always bring a coat when you travel somewhere in case your tire goes flat. And don't lose to Ball State in Muncie. The 3 rules in life, man. And Ohio broke one of the rules, so we have nobody to blame but ourselves as Bobcats. But nobody cares.
The 4th rule in life, obviously, is if you have the opportunity to subscribe to Lettermen Row, you should take advantage of it.
Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff right there. The transition king himself, Mick Walker, back for another round. That's Mick Walker on the other side of your screen. Like he said, listen to the man. $1 right now. Go get a Lettermen Row for $1 and then go watch the Buckeyes against Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. It's 1, it's 2, it's 12-0 versus 12-0. That's a combined 24-0 on the field in Indianapolis, Saturday night at 8 o'clock, Ohio State and Indiana on Fox. If you're coming to Indianapolis, say hi to Lettermen Row. If you see us walking around the street, we'll be around. For Mick Walker, I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys Saturday in Lucas Oil Stadium for Ohio State and Indiana for all the Big Ten marbles. We'll see you there.